Alright, got a 2008 Mazda CX7 today. This car came in with several issues, but I'm just gonna go off of probably two different things I'm gonna resolve, probably as video content goes. This car did come in for like some extreme fuel trims, wound up being a hose behind the intake that had a rupture. She's been having cylinder one misfires for a couple years, and a lean code that eventually came about. There was so much stuff. She had a lot of guys work on it, and if a lot of guys are going in and out on it just ain't gonna be no structure. So long story short, I got the intake leak fixed, got the fuel trims fixed. We still dealing with that cylinder one, but the car does have a issue with timing because the timing chain is loose. So I had to do valve cover gaskets, a valve cover gasket, and while I was in there, I wound up seeing a timing chain was an issue. So when they did the head gasket a couple years ago, they didn't replace the timing chain. I don't know why, but we'll do that in the future. I digress. We are dealing today with ABS faults, and the C1165 EO is going to be right rear wheel speed sensor input circuit failure. Now, the guy that touched this, allegedly it's a mechanic that I know, that I guess he wound up disconnecting it. I don't know what's back there. You and I both are going to be the first to determine and see what's going on, but he disconnected it and got it tied up with some sort of bungee cord or something. So I don't know. So we're going to tackle that. I do know we have rear wheel bearing issues also. Hopefully that wheel bearing tone ring and the wheel bearing itself is defective on that same side. I will be very lucky. I don't know what side it is. This is a four-wheel drive vehicle. U2023, I'm gonna assume, there's some fault received from external node. The node is just going to pretty much be a module, and I'm just going to assume, I'm just assuming. I don't know, why would a sensor be considered a node? Maybe a node by definition is not what I'm thinking of, but usually it's correlated with being some sort of module, but it does retrieve information. I don't know, maybe those two are synonymous. This is a byproduct. The U2023 is a byproduct of the C1165. I don't know. I haven't even looked up anything yet. I'm just going off of just general knowledge right now. Let's hop back there, take a gander at it, because if we have circuit fault issues, this sensor is just not going to work. And I just don't know if, wiring from the harness going to the module is going to be affected. I don't know if the sensor itself, is just going to be affected. I don't know anything, but I do believe it's worth pulling up the right rear PID data and seeing if we can manipulate it. There's a lot of options that I have at my disposal to determine what's going on and what I need to replace. I simply can just put some jumper wires from left rear to the right rear, see if the communication gets established, which will definitely tell us that everything is perfectly fine from a communication aspect and a circuit integrity aspect going to our ABS module. Did I see that right? Did that switch and I just happened to overlook it, or what? Okay, enough talking. Let's get the PIDs pulled up. Right rear, right front, right rear. Did I overlook it? Right, there we go. Let's go. Okay, let's get this pulled up. All right, first sight, when I get the wheel off, look at this. If they welded this and that shorted out the sensor, that's going to cause our circuit fault. So I can just about guarantee you we're going to need a new sensor just because they tack welded this together. And I'm going to try to extract that screw so I can put something in there proper. Let me show you what else I found. Let me get my camera. One other thing, I got to give credit where credit's due. This camera's like close to $300. I want to say about $2 something. Depstech. Something happened with my camera and the other one I got over there, and they sent me a whole brand new one, free of charge. brand new, got off of Amazon. I'm gonna put the link there if I can get it in there. But the customer service was amazing, and I just wanted the cable, because the cable usually lose communication and causes some discrepancies. But they completely gave me a brand new one, and makes you question how cheap these are. But I try to, like, hey, look, give me the cable. That's all I want. I don't want anything else but the cable. Nope, it sent the whole brand new one. Crazy. Let's cut this on and let's look in the back and let me show you what I found out. So here we are at the reluctor wheel, and then there's our sensor here. Everything looks fine from when you look at it from the front, but mind you, we have circuit fault codes. But let me turn this to 90 degree so we look at the side of it. Yeah, but look at that. Look how far off that sensor is from the pickup wheel. My biggest concern is, that it's loose and it walked itself off, but I'm gonna have to take this wheel bearing off and get this lined up back with the sensor. So I need to pull it back towards the boot right there. So we need to pull it back towards there. We need to get it back up here because it walked itself off for some strange reason, and I don't think it's because of how they got it sitting in there, because I don't think it's gonna be clocked. So what I need to do, I want to take this wheel bearing off, and we're gonna get this tone ring back lined up, but that's not gonna fix the circuit fault. And let me show you that. 1 second. So even though I got the tone ring is off a little bit, it still should be able to pick up the signal, but we're dealing with a circuit fault. So the blue trace is gonna be the left rear on the driver's side, and then we're on the right rear, the green trace. Let me spin this back. There we go, that's working. You can see a little hump there. I can't spin it that fast, it's 4-wheel drive. What I'm gonna do, I need to get a new sensor anyway, so I'm gonna work on drilling this one out and getting the wheels off, get that cleaned up, and maybe I can retap it so we can get a new bolt in there. I'm gonna see if the parts store got this in stock. The left rear wheel bearing needs to be replaced, but being that somebody took this wheel bearing off and they likely just destroyed it. Destroyed the sensor, destroyed the tone ring. I need to make sure that tone ring is not messed up also. So we'll see. Let's work on getting this off and getting the new parts replaced. So I got the brake caliper off. The plan is to simply just cut this off, get this out, and I don't want to take that wheel bearing off because it's too much work that I want to do right now. So I'm gonna take it off, gain access to the tone ring, and maybe I can take a flathead and pry it back. But I just needed to partially be partially lined up. I'm gonna try to get it fully lined up. We'll see what happens. I need to change this wheel, but we'll see how this works out. Let's see here. Yo, look at this tone ring. Look at that. Oh, did I see a crack? Ah, dang it. Oh, man. Shit. I knew it had to be a reason why it did not line up. Because they just don't walk off on their own. I don't know how, but I'm gonna. Have you seen the shit on this car? I'm gonna blame the last guy that worked on this thing. Damn, man, he fucked up a lot of stuff. I'm gonna be honest. Golly. Now I gotta get a CV axle. Well, I already got the parts ordered for Brock Auto because it was based off of what we negotiated. It's going to be a little much if I can get it inside the store. And plus, nobody has this ABS sensor. They have to be special order anyway. So I got a CV axle for this side, wheel speed sensor for the rear right, and then the left side I got a wheel bearing, and I'm doing timing chains and component set. So here we are. So what I'm gonna do, get this bolt extracted, and I'm hoping that they didn't weld this bolt in there. So let's try to grind it down and get a clean slide. I guess a nice platform. We'll go from there. I'm gonna try various things. More than likely, what I'm gonna have to do if I get it flat, take a punch pin and just drill it out. So here we go. Damn it. You know what? I destroyed drill bit after drill bit after drill bit to get this in there, and it holds snug. I'm not going to over tighten it because it holds. Let me see if it pulls it out. I just went on ahead and put a Healy coil in it. The problem is it's not like lined up perfect because this was very, very, very difficult to drill into. And so it's not what I'm gonna have to do when I get the new one, cut the ears off and then put the bolt in there, put like a washer, and it'll hold flat. So the main thing is it's not welded, and we can work with it. I didn't put the Healy coil in there as great as I could, but I tell you, I've been messing with this for an hour and a half, drilling after drilling after drilling. I'm proud of it. It's gonna work. It's not welded. In worst case scenario, you know, I mean, I have to strip the Healy coil out, get it further down in there and hold, because the further I can get in there, the better chances this is gonna work. But it works. It's snug, you know. So it'll hold down the component. I'm not even gonna show you every bit of thing that every bit of technique I've been through. I just, again, bit after bit, and you saw the one broke in there. It broke. I had to drill that out. Luckily, it was kind of like partially all the way through. So I took a punch, knocked that out, and kept drilling through there. So here I am. I'm proud of it. And I would honestly feel a little better if I took that out and ran down with the tap again to get a Healy coil better in there better. But I probably might do that. There we go. I got the special tool in there now. I ain't got to worry about it coming out. It's down deep in the threads. I'm just gonna run this in there, break off the little tang or the tab. Cool. So we're in way better shape. It's nice and recessed in there now. So let me do a dry run. So like I said, I'm gonna get a new one, and we're just gonna cut the ends off. It'll cut through this. Oh gosh. Now I'm gonna have to use something else. Uh-oh. Yeah, I'm gonna have to cut it with my Dremel. So here's the dry run. I got that cut out. take that, put that bolt in there. Hopefully the threads aren't wrong with this one. Oh yeah. And it's not, yeah, I think we're good. I can put a washer on here so it'll sit better, sit more flush. But as of right now, you know, we're in good shape. And I mean, it's probably warped too, because me hitting it with the Dremel. So we're, yeah, I think we're in good shape. It just needs to hold in place, and I don't think that's going to cause any, no, it's not going to cause any air gap. All right, so that's fine. Look, it works. Okay, y'all understand. We're all on the same page. So now all I gotta do is get the new sensor, get the new axle. I'm just gonna show the final product of being put in here, because this wheel bearing, this hub assembly just simply unbolts from the back. And it seemed like him putting the wheel bearing on here damaged the that reluctor wheel. So that's, you can see, you saw how off it was, and the bolts, again, you have to come to the back. So he probably knocked it with the hammer or something, or either when he went to go loosen it, it pressed up against the reluctor wheel and pulled it back, is my assumption. But when we come back, we should see it fixed, because I think if I edit this, depending on how long it's going to be, it's going to cut into, like, I'm trying to keep my videos down below 20 minutes. I do have the CV axle removed, and I did a whole separate video on that. That's out. Labor time was supposed to be 3 hours. I managed to take the CV axle out in 45 minutes. So I just used a bunch of 17s or caliber mountain bracket, lower shock, upper control arm 17, 2 bolts on the trailing arm up there, 17. Got the lower control arm jacked up, the lower down if I need to, and also so that spring won't jump out. And just took a long pry bar, pulled it out. So let me get the CV axle in there. Oh, duh. Forgot to show you the main thing. Here's what happened. It broke, and it looked like when they tried to replace the wheel bearing, they had knocked it on there, their tool on there, and bent this, or they either pried it when they were pulling the bolt out, and the bolt got attached to the small socket and it pressed itself and broke it. So that's getting gone. Here's the new one, came off of Rock Auto. So I'm gonna get that put back in there. Let's look at our nice fluid rotation. Had a dumb moment there of the tone ring, see how lined up that is, and then I'm gonna show you where the wheel speed sensor is inside the car, because evidently it not only goes from here, but it goes up through in there. So I might be able to just pull it out here. It might just come all the way out. Am I that lucky? Oh, that's right. She did say he disconnected it. You know what? I forgot all about it being disconnected. So we probably may not have needed one, but I got one anyway. So, but they welded it. I'll tell you what, when we get this in there, we'll hook it up and then see what happens and go from there. But she did tell me he did something back here. I don't remember, but now I know. Well, let's hook it up and see if it makes any difference, because again, there's a bunch of stuff going on with this vehicle. A bunch of people have touched it, and I got a little overwhelmed. But I feel better having a new sensor anyway, even though I didn't 100% diagnose it. So I did not, but it was welded. It's no longer welded. A bolt's in there, even though it's still a little janky and ain't lined up. It works. Let's get everything back. All right, got everything back installed. Didn't take that long. Here's the sensor connector under the passenger seat. There's our hole. So this is why you shouldn't believe everything you see on the internet. And I'm not out here to make myself seem like a celebrity. I ain't that smart. So here's our tone wheel. Look how perfect that looks. It's perfectly centered and lined up. Let's connect this and see if it actually worked, because that was that was my ignorance, and I should have went through this a little bit more thoroughly. But again, I mean, it was welded. I was gonna have to replace it anyway. I mean, it worked out. I wasn't gonna leave that in there, so it worked out. Instead of raggedy, it's better raggedy. Let's take this and let's just wave the sensor over some metal. Here and see if it changes speed. Left rear, right rear. No, let me see if I can. So let's just wave this sensor over some metal right here and see if it changes. And it might just be actually broken. I mean, it again, they welded it. Yeah, it's not saying anything. Let's erase the code and see if we get that continuity circuit come back immediately. I got the sensor change. It's very, very self-explanatory to change it. I mean, if you saw how it was looped up, and you can replace it. It's just a connector. Let's see if we got our that circuit integrity test fulfilled. So it shouldn't have any codes right now since I have the new one connected. And when we go to live data, we should be able to wave it around that bolt head, and it should show some signs. Oh, right rear input failure. Interesting. Did I clear it? Okay, now we're fine because I did not follow instructions by shutting the car off. This is why you also shouldn't listen to people online. So I shut the car down. So what happened, if you see the code in there, you clear the code while the car is running, it still disabled the sensor. So I just went on and tested the circuit for the other side, and everything was compatible with the sensor resistance and the feedback. I just had to shut the car down. I noticed when I did the same for the other side, cleared the code and went back in the live data to rotate the sensor, rotate the wheel to see if it responded with the speed sensor, it didn't work on the left side. So lesson learned, follow instructions. Let's go to the left rear. And now what I did not do is actually rotate the wheel to see if this works. Right rear, let's line these up and merge graphs. And we're gonna enhance. Let's do this. I'm gonna move this and it should respond. So that our green trace, yep, look at our green trace moving now. You see that little blip. Oh, come on here, focus. Don't do me like that. See our green trace moving now? Has some focus issues. So we're gonna move the sensor and we should see the green trace move. And it still don't want to focus. Yes, there we go. We have the right clearance. Our wheel, there we go. So we saw that little blip. That's me moving it around. Yep, see it moving. So we working, man. This is back working like it's supposed to. So in all honesty, you know, the old sensor probably did work. I'm gonna, you know what I could do? I probably could leave it right there and put the washer, and that way I ain't gotta cut it. So once I put, and I don't have to cut a slit down there. If I put a washer here, it'll cover that space and keep it locked in place. Because I mean, it's still centered. We just want to hold it in place. Let's see here. That's what I'll do. All right, let's turn the wheel. Look at that, both of them are moving. We didn't see the mile per hour because I can't move it that fast. This is pretty difficult. But our green and our blue traces are moving. Take this. There we go. That needs to probably borrow some leverage. Cool, we're fixed, man. That wasn't bad at all. Now, lesson learned. Even though I needed to I still replaced the sensor. I don't care. It was still welded. The sensor probably did work. I can find out. I'm not putting that stuff back in there because I'm over this car right now. Today ain't been the greatest day. We're fixed. And I'm going on to the next thing. I need to put the wheel bearing on the other side, and I still got to do timing chains on this car. So at least I got the ABS light off now. I still got to fix the check engine light and that noise on the other side, on the driver's side. But this is it. Hey, if anything happened, I'll definitely keep you in the loop. Hit that link, subscribe to the channel, stay informed, how to reach us on my work. See you on the next one.